Continuing the journey in the History of Pyrrus, you uncover even deeper layers of mystery surrounding Lord Pyrrus. Valuna once again becomes your main guide, directing you to distant and dangerous locations where more relics, essential to completing the legend, await. Each recovered fragment not only reveals new clues about ancient battles and forgotten legends, but also brings you closer to the decisive confrontation with Lord Pyrrus. The second part of this epic adventure raises the stakes as your enemies grow stronger and the tasks become more challenging. In this part, we will continue to delve into the world of the History of Pyrrus, showing the locations of key relics needed to enter Pyrrus Solar, where Lord Pyrrus himself awaits. Be prepared for tougher challenges as the enemies are stronger and the discoveries even more valuable. Are you ready to continue this legendary journey and uncover even more lost secrets? The History of Pyrrus. Part 2 is a quest in Villagers' Heroes. Valuna wants me to learn the true history of Pyrrus. She explains that this will be a lot of work, and the objects will be difficult to find, but knowing the enemy I face is key for the victory over Pyrrus. This is a very long quest, and you will need to travel around a lot. And every time you acquire the requested item, you will need to return to Valuna in Saphira's Lament tent at B8. She will then tell which item you need to get next. Let's begin. Objectives and walkthrough. The objectives will be revealed one at a time after turning in the previous item. Learn the 27th segment of the History of Pyrrus. Saphira has given me this first piece, the Rusted War Horn. I should bring it to Valuna. 27th item, Rusted War Horn. You need to speak to Benefactress, who lives in Nokro Village, C7. She will give you this object. Learn the 28th segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will drop from a powerful amphibious creature who is always seeing a man bandage his hands and feet. 28th item, Tablet. Page of Pyrrus's journal will drop from a powerful amphibious creature who is always seeing a man bandage his hands and feet. Kill Pogifrob, GH 6/7, in Keppel Cavern. Learn the 29th segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from a strong creature, filled with spores, sitting on a bluff judging all. 29th item, Bloodstained Henosis. Shrine fragment will come from a strong creature filled with spores, sitting on a bluff, judging all. Killed Tinir, GH4, in Keppel Cavern. Learn the 30th segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from a changed man in need of aid. 30th item, Scrap of Imogen's cloak will come from a changed man in need of aid. Assist Lapus, in Keppel Cavern, in the quest. Till death, do us part. There's no other way to obtain this item. So let's roll up our sleeves and get to work, and there's plenty of work to do here. Let's begin. For the sisters, take the arch portal at G6, a little bit south of the bounty, Darakter. Run a few more to the south and take the next arch portal at H5, which leads you to the hiding place of the three sisters. Talk to Esti the Unseemly, who wants you to find Augusta, the fourth sister. For Augusta, leave this area through the arch portal and run southwards to the next arch portal at G7. Run through the portal. Talk to Augusta, the sheep, until she gives you Augusta's Ember Fleece. For the sisters, jump into the water and again take the arch portal at G6, a little bit south of the bounty, Director. Run a few steps more to the south and take the next arch portal at H5, which leads you to the hiding place of the three sisters. Give the Augusta's Ember Fleece to Esti the Unseemly, who now gives you the Charmed Key replica recipe. She also tells you to find Boyet. Leave the area through the portal. For Boyet, after leaving the sisters, run south to the waterside. Boyet stands in front of a little tent. Talk to him. He'll give you the Muta Raj Pearl if you kill Iagor, who has Boyet's swimming medals. For Iagor, run around the tip of the island, and at F/G7, there is a tiny island where he stands. Kill him and pick up the medals. Run back to Boyet and trade him the medals for the Muta Raj Pearl. Keep talking to him and ask him about the Almandine Mist needed for the key you have to make. He'll tell you to ask Esti the Unseemly, the wisest of the sisters, about where to get it. For the sisters, take the arch portal at G6, a little bit south of the bounty, Director. Run a few steps more to the south and take the next arch portal at H5, which leads you to the hiding place of the three sisters. Talk to Esti the Unseemly. She'll say to go to the library and talk to Tallulah. For the library, south center of the map, E8. Run over there. Talk to Tallulah, asking her about the Almandine Mist. She'll tell you to find the Almandine well inside the library. Run further into the library and look for Sepper. Talk to Sepper and she'll give you 3 Almandine Mist. Return to the sisters. For the sisters, take the arch portal at G6, a little bit south of the bounty, Director. Run a few steps more to the south and take the next arch portal at H5, which leads you to the hiding place of the three sisters. Talk to Esti the Unseemly again about the whereabouts of the ore, Tipple. Run to the SWB7. Mine the 8 Tipple, a level 1 mining node. Now you have all the ingredients to make the charmed replica key, 8 Tipple, the 3 Almandine Mist, and the Muta Raj Pearl. Double-click on one of the items to get the key. Use the key to enter the mysterious cave, G2. talk to Florizel. She'll tell you the whole story if you find the mystical splicing, reanimation of the dead manual. Run to the bounty. Teston Flint? Just next to him is a research cabinet where this manual is. Give it to Florizel. She'll give you the next quest, meds for mutants, and an item, a spliced earlobe. In case you lose key, return to the following NPCs to get the ingredients again. Boyette G7, Sepper D8, and collect the tipples at B7 and combine them again. Return to Lapus, D4, and explain him everything. This ends this quest and you get your reward. This also triggers a new quest, Relic of the Past, Scrap of Imogen's Cloak. And he gives you an item, Scrap of Imogen's Cloak. Extra info, level restriction, 67. This quest can only be done if you have done all the quests in Necrotopiel Village, given by Scardicus. Tell Me No Lies. Part 1, Tell Me No Lies. Part 2, Tell Me No Lies. Part 3, Double, Toil and Trouble. Operation Garg Gurgle. Eyes on the prize. Let's continue collecting the parts. Learn the 31st segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from a winged creature where it is unsafe to fly, sitting atop a high place, bathed in reddish glow. 31st item. Scrap of Imogen's glove will come from a winged creature where it is unsafe to fly, sitting atop a high place, bathed in reddish glow. Kill Urez Flint. F3. In the Crystal Spire. Learn the 32nd segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from a creature of death, who looks up to green and down to red. 32nd item. Imogen's hair comb will come from a creature of death who looks up to green and down to red. Kill Percy Wraith in the Crystal Spire. Learn the 33rd segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from another creature of death who looks down upon the entire world. 33rd item, Stone Gargoyle. Fragment will come from a creature of death who looks down upon the entire world. Kill God, D5, in the Crystal Spire. Learn the 34th segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from a cousin to Florizel, but sinister at heart. 34th item. Rusted fragment of Titus's armor will come from a cousin to Florizel, but sinister at heart kill Untina, d4 in the Drum. Learn the 35th segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from a critter on 4s, possibly filled with disease, wondering if a bog frog is a tasty treat. 35th item. Shard from the crystal. Castle will come from a critter on 4s, possibly filled with disease, wondering if a bog frog is a tasty treat. Kill Dodbull, c6 in the Drum. Learn the 36th segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from a monster whose roots go deep into the ground, only to touch cold air again. 36th item. Cloak, scrap of the Crystal Lady, will come from a monster whose roots go deep into the ground, only to touch cold air again. Kill Elmroth in the Drum, Lagoon. Learn the 37th segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from a cousin of a dagger-tooth who always seems to put his foot lower to the ground. 37th item. Pendant of the Crystal. Lady will come from a cousin of a dagger-tooth who always seems to put his foot lower to the ground. Kill Dipfoot, D 7/8 in Corkle Woods. Learn the 38th segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from creature who would rather live underground than fight in a pit. 38th item. Blood-stained Helm of Titus will come from a creature who would rather live underground than fight in a pit. Kill Corkle Daggertooth in Corkle Woods. Learn the 39th segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from a man who was a man, a defender who used to defend, a titan he was never. 39th item. Sand from the Black Lake will come from a man who was a man, a defender who used to defend, a titan he was never. Kill Titan the Defender, B 1/2 in Corkle Woods. Learn the 40th segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from a creature in service, using sword or staff. Either way it bows to the fire beasts. 40th item. Fragment of Queen Illyria's staff will come from a creature in service, using sword of staff. Either way it bows to the fire beast. Kill Sanctorium Drudges. Learn the 41st segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from a powerful and large creature who even among his own has carved out his own lair. 41st item. Brindle Castle. Fragment will come from a powerful and large creature, who even among his own has carved out his own lair, Kill Balfour, FG1, in the Sanctorium. Learn the 42nd segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from the directions from the east, the days from the north, directly behind you from the west, and western realms from the south. 42nd item. Fragment of Queen Illyria's crown will come from the directions from the east, the days from the north, directly behind you from the west, and western realms from the south. Kill Bencharius, F5, in the Sanctorium. Learn the 43rd segment of the History of Pyrrus. Valuna foretells that the object will come from the Revealed One. 43rd item. Sapphira's glove will come from the Revealed One. Finish the Sleeping Dragon's quest. The completion of this quest wasn't recorded, but it's not difficult. You just need to do what is asked and follow the marker. I'll only show the way to reach Saphira and collect the part. After 43rd item, Valuna tells you to go to the benefactress in Nokro village, C7, and tell her all what you have learned. This will end your quest, and you get rewarded. You also get your next quest from her, Benefactor of the Shard. Successfully finishing part 1-2 will also help you with your progress on the beginning of the end. Valuna wants me to return to the benefactress and tell her what I have learned. So today, we have completed our journey through the history of Pyrrus. With Valuna's guidance, we uncovered ancient relics and unraveled many mysteries about Lord Pyrrus's past. All of these episodes have led us to the grand finale, and now the journey comes to an end. I want to thank all of you for joining me throughout this epic story. If you enjoyed this final episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss out on future adventures.